Hello everybody, Miss Germany again with another multi-step equation. This one is getting nasty. 2v plus 18 equals 16 minus 4 times the quantity of v plus 7. All right, well this is where the solving equations decision chart really helps us. So we are going to make sure we follow these steps. Question 1 asks, are there fractions or decimals to remove? Well, as I look, nope, no fractions, no decimals. We're going to say no, and I'm writing down. Does distributive property need to be used? All right, distributive property, sure enough, I've got some parentheses with a number immediately outside. So this is a yes, so I'm going to follow it. So I'll distribute, but be sure to check for negatives. So when I look at my distribution, part of what I see is, sure enough, I've got a -4 that I'm actually going to be distributing. So this is what I want to always check for. So I'm going to multiply -4 times v and -4 times 7. All right, that's what I'm going to be distributing. Now, when I do that, I'll end up with -4v, and then -4 times a +7 is going to make a -28. Now, all the rest of this is just going to come down. All right. And so we get it all down. All right, so now we've done our distribution and we made sure we watched for that negative. So we've done that. So then, are there like terms on the same side of the equal sign? All right, we have a lot of terms, so let's make sure we know the two sides of the equal sign to make life a little bit easier. All right. And what we see is if we look at the left-hand side, I've got a variable term and a constant. Those are not like terms. But on the right, I have 3 terms, which guarantees that I have at least one set of like terms. So again, this is going to be on the right-hand side. My first term, I'm going to give a single underline just because it's first. My second term, and that's a constant on the first term. My second term has a variable that's different, so it's going to get 2 to show it's different. But my third term, it actually is a constant again, so that's going to be 1. Now, again, please, please, please note that there's a negative there. So when I go to combine these like terms, all right, when I actually do that, I'm going to have to pay attention to that. Now on the left, nothing changes, so this just is still 2v plus 18 equals, but here on the right, I really have 16 minus 28 here. All right, and so I have a smaller number minus a bigger number, which means that's going to give me a negative number. And then I subtract them. 28 minus 16 gives me 12. So I have -12. And then again, when I bring this down, don't forget it's minus the 4v. So now I've combined my like terms. Okay, so now my question becomes, are there variables on both sides of the equal sign? Well, as I begin to look, sure enough, I do see that I have a 2v here on the left, and I have a -4v on the right. Now again, we want to use inverse operations to move my variable to only one side. Now remember the rule of thumb, move the one that is the smaller coefficient, and it's going to help because you don't have negatives. Now this is where the negatives do come into play. So this is a +2 and this is a -4. Well, a positive is always bigger than a negative, so the one I'm going to move here is the -4. The inverse, since that's negative or subtracted, would be to add 4v, and then I will add 4v on the other side as well. That will then cancel my 4v's that are over on the right, leaving me with just my v on the left, which is the purpose of that step. So 2v plus 4v gives me 6v, plus the 18 just comes down, equals, now again, don't lose that right there, that's a -12. All right, don't lose that negative in there. All right, so there I have my variable now on one side of the equal sign. Okay. Are there constants on both sides of the equal sign? Well, I have a +18 on the left and a -12 on the right. Yes, there are. Okay, so I want to add or subtract to move away from the variable. Well, the one on the same side of the variable is the 18. It is positive or added, so the inverse would be subtracting 18. And again, what I do on one side, I do on the other. On my left, the 18s are going to cancel. And so I just am bringing down my 6v equals. Now I have negative 12 minus negative 18. They're both negative, so really what I'm doing is adding them, but I keep their sign. All right, so I'm going to keep the sign. So 12 plus 18 is going to give me 30, and it's a negative 30. Now, from there, do I have a coefficient with my variable? 6 times v. Yes, I do. Coefficients are always multiplied. Inverse operation is division, so I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides, which leaves me with just my v on the left. And then on the right, I have negative 30 divided by 6. Okay, so division rules, if the signs are different, the answer is a negative. So I'm going to know it's a negative. 30 divided by 6 gives me 5. So v equals negative 5.